My channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this dress with circle sleeve. So the first thing we are going to do is to fold your fabric. So I've already cut out. I'm going to start with the skirt part because I'm going to be joining it at the waist, the dress. So it's a pencil dress. So how you're going to get the length of the bottom part is just to subtract the full length of the dress from the shoulder to the waist. So the full length I'm working with is 43, and then if I subtract the shoulder to waist from it, which is 17 from the 43, I'm supposed to have like 26. So because the person wants it below knee, so I added extra like 2.5 inches to it so that I can be able to fold it and use half an inch to join the waist. So now the next thing I'm going to do, as you can see, the width of this here, this is the front panel and then this is the back panel. Both are folded into two, right? So the front panel is wider than the back panel by about 1.5 inches, and then the width of this front panel is just the hip measurement I'm working with, which is 45 divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch or 1.5 depending on how much seam allowance you want to use. So that's basically the width I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and start inserting my measurement. So the waist I'm working with is going to be 37 divided by 4. So guys, it's going to be 9.25. So 9.25, I'm going to mark that here, and then I'm also going to go ahead and insert my 1 inch for darting. So I have 9.25, so I need to mark 10.25 for 1 inch of darting and then 1 inch of my seam allowance. So that's going to be 11.25 in total. So that's going to be the top part here, and then I'm going to come down here, mark the waist to the hip measurement I'm working with, which is at 10 inches. So I'm going to come down there and insert the hip measurement I'm working with, starting from where the front panel is. So that's going to be somewhere here. That's the exact width of the fabric. So I'm now going to connect from the waist down to the hip, and then I'm going to come down here, the same measurement I have at the hip here, which is about 12.5. Down here I'm going to subtract 1 from it, so that's going to be 11.5, and then I'm going to come down here by about 1 inch or like 1 inch or 1.5, and then I'm going to just connect this here to this part. So guys, that's basically it for my skirt. At this point now, I'm just going to go ahead and insert my dart. Just come in here by about 4 inches here, and then I'm going to go down here 2 inches before the hip line. The hip is at 10, 2 inches before that is at 8. I'm going to just connect my dart all the way up, mark half an inch on each side, and then blend it down into this line. So this is going to be my dart for the front. I'm going to go ahead and notch it so that I can transfer it both at the back and the front. This top part here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to cut this out. So I'm going to start here now, cut this part out all the way, follow this line to the end. So guys, before you cut the end here, always remember to fold this part here before you cut it, so that the length, so that you can be able to, when you go to fold this edge, your fabric will be enough to fold it, so it's not too narrow. So after that, now this top part here is the skirt part is done. So all I have to do is just to go ahead, pick my dart in the 2 sides of the front and then 2 sides of the back panel. So guys, same thing for the front panel, sorry, for the top. So we've cut the skirt, now we're going to cut the top. To cut the top, all I have to do is, like the same way I folded my fabric into 2 here. As you can see, I have 2 pieces of it here for my front, which is this one, and then another 2 pieces cut separately for the back. So 2 pieces at the back, 1 piece in front, but the front piece is folded into 2. So it has 4 pieces here. So what I'm going to do now is to start inserting my measurement. The length I have here is just the waist to the shoulder to the waist, which is 17 plus extra 1 inch, half an inch for joining the shoulder and half an inch for joining the bottom part to the skirt. And then I have the width I have here is just the widest part of the upper body, which is the bust. For the hip, for the lower one, I use the widest part of the lower body, which is the hip. For the top one, you're going to use the widest part of the upper body. That's how you're going to determine the width of your cloth. So the widest part I'm working with here is 40, divided by 4 is 10. So I added about 1.5 inch for my seam allowance. So that's why I have 11.5 here for the width. So 40 is the bust measurement here. I also added 1.5 for my zip allowance here. So now we'll go ahead and put in our measurements. So starting from the shoulder, you're going to insert your shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 16.5. Divided by 2 is going to be 8.25. I'm going to mark that here. Come down here for 1 inch of shoulder slope. And then I'm going to also insert my shoulder measurement, which is on this same line. I'm going to insert my shoulder measurement, which is 9 inches. Down here. Mark that. So the armhole is what I mean. So the armhole, my armhole divided by 2 is 9. So that's what I added here after I came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. So after that, now I'm going to go ahead and insert the neckline. I'm going to use the basic 3 inches of width. If you see, I'm marking from the front to this point here. And then after that, you're going to connect the shoulder slope to the top of these 3 inches here. And then I'm going to mark my neckline. I'm also going to use 3 inches because remember, this here is going to be a high neck, a turtleneck. So you need to make it smaller. And then if you need to go wider, then you can chip off a little bit more. But don't go ahead and cut a very wide neck. And then you can't put back the fabric you cut out. So I'm also going to put in my back neckline once. So that's 1 inch here. And then my front neckline is this one here. So now, after this, I'm going to go ahead, divide my bust measurement by 4. Bust is 40, divided by 4 is 10, plus extra 1.5 of seam allowance. You can use 1 inch of seam allowance, like I said. Then coming down to the waist you're working with is 37, divided by 4 is 9.25. And then I'm going to add extra 2 inches to it. So 11.25 here. And then I'm going to connect it. As you can see, this person has the bust and the waist, the measurements are almost similar. So that's why you're not seeing much difference here. So all I have to do now is also to insert my dart. So I'm using 4 inches of that nipple to nipple distance. That's 8 inches divided by 2. That's how I got the 4. And then from here, I'm going to put in my shoulder to the bust, which is about 10.5, somewhere here. So all I have to do now is my dart is going to stop 1 inch before that, which is at 12 inches, somewhere here. So connect it in a straight line down here. Mark ½ an inch on both sides. This is going to be my dart here for the front. But for the back, the same point where I have this dart is where I'm going to insert it at the same 4 inches I used is the center mark for my dart at the back. But the only difference now is that from my shoulder to my chest line is what I'm going to be using here. And my chest line here is about 10 inches. So my dart is going to go all the way up. So the dart at the back is longer than the one in front. Connect it down, ½ an inch on each side, and then mark it this way. So I know you'll be wondering why I'm marking everything in the front. I try to use the back, but it will not be visible for the video. So that's why I'm using the front of the fabric. But you can use the back of your fabric. Just for the purpose of this video. That's why I'm marking everything in front. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out my armhole. Cut the shoulder slope. Cut my back neckline first. Separate the back from the front so that I can now cut the front neckline. So guys, I'm going to separate the two now so that separate it so that I can be able to insert my armhole. So that I can be able to change the armhole in front, sorry. So all I have to do now is to measure down here, which is 9 inches that I have. Find the center for that is 4.5, somewhere here. Go in here by ½ an inch. Connect it in a straight line to the top. Connect it with a curve to the bottom line. So now I'm going to cut out this part. So guys, you see I've removed that piece here. So now you see the front armhole is supposed to be deeper than the back one. So all I have to do now is to go ahead now, pick my dart here at the back, at the front and then also at the back. Pick the darts for the skirt and then join the two sides. So this is what mine looks like, the back panel here, you see, and then I have one front panel. I'm going to also join the shoulder together. And then if you look at my skirt here, this is what it looks like. So this is my skirt here. I'm just going to go ahead and put in my dart, and then this is the back panel of my skirt. So this is the two back panels here. So I'm going to just go ahead, pick the dart even for the back, also join the two sides, do everything, and then I'll come and show you guys how I'm going to cut my sleeve and also how I'm going to finish up the neckline. To go ahead and cut the sleeve, and to cut the sleeve all you need is the sleeve length, right? We are going to be cutting a circle sleeve here, so you need your sleeve length. The sleeve length I'm working with here is going to be about 10.5. So whatever your sleeve length is, you're going to add 1 inch to it. 1 inch because you need lining, and lining only takes half an inch to join. So you need half an inch for joining the edge of the sleeve and half an inch for joining the top part. So that's why you're adding just 1 inch of seam allowance to the sleeve length. So let's say you're using 10 inches now and for your sleeve length, so you're going to add 1 inch to it. That's 11. So you're going to make sure that when you cut your fabric, you have 11 plus another 11, because you're going to be cutting it on a fold, right? So you see the length of my fabric here, I'm working with 10.5 as my sleeve length. I added 1 inch, so that's 11.5. The fold I have here is 23 dots, so 23 inches here. So that's 11.5 times 2, so that when I fold it this way to cut my sleeve, I'm going to have just 11.5. You see, when I fold it this way to cut my sleeve, I'm going to have just 11.5. So how you're going to cut this sleeve, let me show you guys. This is actually a square, so make sure that the length of the square is the length and the width. So the length, this is it here. I cut out 2 fabrics at a time, so because I'm going to be cutting the 2 sleeves once. So this is what it looks like here. You're going to make sure that the length here is 23, whatever length you're working with, and then the width is also the same measurement. So that's basically it. You're also going to cut your lining the same way. So now I'm going to pin it down so that I can be able to insert my measurements. My lining is also 2. I'm also going to insert a video on how to cut this butterfly, this circle sleeve. I already have 2 videos on how to do that. I have a video that shows 3 methods on how to, 3 easy methods on how to do that. So after that, you're just going to fold it into 2. So now we are going to start cutting our sleeve. So the next thing you have to do is to get your cloth. I'm going to use just the easiest method. As you can see, I've joined the body of my top, my dress here. So guys, as you can see, I've joined the body of my dress. So basically all I did here was just to pick the darts for the front, pick the dart for the bottom, join the front and the bottom together. Did the same thing for the back, pick the dart for this side, the same for the back, the other side of the back, and joined it together. And then I used 1 seam to join it at the side, because I didn't want to join the skirt separately and the bottom separately and join it. If you do it that way, if the person comes to try out the cloth and it's too tight, and you need any adjustment, you have to lose the waist entirely to be able to do that. So that's why I prefer to join the front and the bottom together, join the back separately, and then have 1 seam going down the side, so that way you can taper it in, let it out at any point. So in the meantime, let me mark how you normally cut your circle. I'm going to place my tape here and mark my 11.5 all the way round this way. So guys, remember what I said, just like that, place your tape here and insert your measurement all the way around. So this line here is just from this point all the way around. It gave me 11.5, which is what I'm working with, right? So now I'm just going to cut out the excess. So guys, this is it here. I've marked it. So what I'm going to do is to open it up. As you can see, I made a line here just to mark half of my circle, right? You're going to put it the other way around, right? This way. And then you're going to make sure that your shoulder is at the top of this part, because when the sleeve drops, it's going to drop this way on your shoulder. So whichever one you want to do, so guys, you're going to just go ahead and mark this armhole, mark it out here, and then cut it out. Then you've made the opening. The most important thing here is just to make an opening that fits exactly the whole of your sleeve, because as you can see, we've gone ahead and closed up the armhole here. And when I closed the armhole, I made sure to check that the bust and all the measurement fits, because this sleeve here, as you can see, it doesn't have, this is a circle. It's going to just fit into the opening, that any opening that you make, the sleeve is going to fit into that place. There's no seam here. The only seam this sleeve has is just at the edge. So if you want, you can use this particular method. Just go ahead, cut this part open, flip your lining, and then insert this whole opening into the sleeve. Or you can do this particular method where you just divide. What you have to do is just measure around this armhole, right? Start from here, the opening of this armhole, measure around this whole armhole. So for me, that's going to be about 19 inches. That 19 inches now, I'm going to divide it by 6.28. So this 6.28 is just a constant that you use for anybody. So now what I got is 3 inches. So I'm going to just mark 3 inches here, and then this is the new center mark. I'm going to mark 3 inches from this half line to this wherever if it's 2.5 that you got, just from your center line, mark that, and then from this point here, I'm just going to start marking that 3 inches all the way around. So guys, like I said, whatever you get for your round armhole, divide it by 6.28, which is a constant. So for me, I got 3. I marked. So you're going to put your tape here and put in whatever measurement you get. If it's 3, if it's 2.5, if it's 2 inches, whatever you get, put it here. Just measure it. That's the first measurement you're going to insert here. And then from that center point, whatever point that is, you're going to insert that measurement again. This time you're trying to make a circle from it. So I got 3 inches from this point to this point. I placed my tape here and then measured another 3 inches all the way around. So now I'm going to just cut out this opening. This is another method of doing this. Any method you want, I'm going to insert the video. You can use that also. So this is it here. And now all I have to do, so guys, you can imagine when my sleeve drapes is going to fall over this way, and then this is just going to be the opening where this part here is going to be. So the whole purpose of this is just to make a circle, and then the under half of that circle make an opening where the opening of your sleeve can fit in. That's basically what a circle sleeve is. So now at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and open this up this way, my lining, open it this way. And then I'm going to take my fabric. So guys, don't forget to notch the shoulder part so that you don't make a mistake, right? The top part of the half, so that you know that is the point that is going to be directly on your sleeve. When I say the shoulder part, I mean this particular point here. Make sure you notch it so that you know that this is going to be where the top of your shoulder is going to fall. So you know that this point here is going to be at your shoulder, and then the rest is going to fall over this way. Right, this is what this sleeve is going to look like. So now all you have to do is to place it, and then you're going to take your fabric also, place your fabric on this here, pin it down and sew the side. And then once you sew the side, from this part here, you flip it inside out and iron it. I've put in the sleeve. So basically, once you iron it out, you flip it inside out, you iron it, then you take it and sew it round the opening of your sleeve. As you can see, there's no seam to close it up anyway. Just sew it round, put it up into the armhole like this. Make sure the shoulder part is at the notch, and then you join it round. So that's basically how you do it. So now we are going to go over to the neckline. For the neckline, you're going to go ahead and notch the part that has your seam, your zipper allowance, which for me was 1.5 away from the edge, right, which is here. And then you're going to measure around this, you're going to measure the remaining neckline, and measure the neckline of the person you're making it for, or your own neckline. Measure from that edge to this point and make sure that it's exactly, mine is 16, and as you can see, this is 8, meaning this neckline will fit my neck, the neck of the person I'm working with, because around her neck is 16, but you can't measure it from the zip allowance because the zip allowance will be folded away into the zipper. So you need to notch the parts where your zip allowance is. For me, I know it's 1.5. I notched it, which is here, and then after that 1.5, I measured the remaining just to make sure the neckline is okay. If it's not okay, go ahead and just chip out a little opening, and just, you see all these bits here are what I cut out. Just reduce it a little bit more and until it fits the neck you're working with, and try not to make it too tight, guys. Don't measure your neck too tight, except it to be uncomfortable. And then this is what I'm going to be using for the neckline band. Is about 3.5 inches of width, and then I'm going to add my 1.5 of zip allowance on this edge, right? So I'm going to just fold it. Let me fold it that way to be easier to explain. So I'm going to fold this into 2 now, and then I'm going to make sure that I have my, like I said, the neckline I'm working with is 16 divided by 2 is going to be 8, somewhere here, and then plus extra 1.5 of for the zip allowance, which is here. So this here is going to go around the neckline. I'm just going to cut it out here. So guys, this is it here. All I have to do now is just to go ahead and fold it into 2 this way, and then you're going to just take one edge of your this edge of this here. You're going to start from one side of the zipper allowance, and you're going to make sure that you fold the edge in this way, and then fold this edge in this way, right? Fold the 2 edges, fold it into 2 this way. Now you see this part is clean, just like this. So you're going to take this and put it in between. If you want, you can go ahead, go to your iron and just iron in this edge here, iron in this edge here. Or if you're already a pro, you can just fold it into 2 this way. Put this in between here, and just go to your sewing machine and just sew it down all the way to the other side of the neck. So guys, this is it here. Once you attach it, you see the ends are open here. You just go ahead and put in your zip. My zip goes all the way to the top and then goes down to the back. So this is what it looks like here. This is the sleeve. This is the style. This, all I have to do now is just to go in and fold the edge of this here, and that will be it. This is what the back looks like. So you see the back of the dress here. The same thing, the turtleneck up to this point. You see my zip goes up to this point. So that's basically. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.